Chris Regan stops at a gas station to fill his tank on the way to his lover Kelly Cochran's house. This surveillance video, the last known image of him alive. And police chief Laura Frizzo says she knows what happened to him. Kelly and her husband Jason killed him.
My theory was that these two people were responsible for Chris Regan's disappearance. Definitely believed that they murdered him and that they were going to try and get away with it.
Get away they did, quickly moving out of the house, leaving most everything behind and heading back to Indiana. And Chief Frizzo says either of them had a motive for murder. After all, Chris was Kelly's secret lover. But the chief doesn't have the proof to make a murder charge stick. Not just yet.
When you finally went into the Cochran home, did you find anything?
Yes, when we first went in, I thought that we hit the jackpot.
What she says looks like blood.
You could see some patterns on the ceiling above the door where you entered the front of the house, identical to what it would look like if someone had assaulted someone with a weapon, and the spray, off onto the ceiling.
Are you trying to say that the patterns on the ceiling look like someone had been shot in the head and everything went like this?
Or actually more so if someone had been hit with an object, like a bat or whatever.
What else did you find?
We found a loaded .22 pistol under the TV in the living room.
But without a body, it's impossible to determine if that .22 was used to kill Chris. Chief Frizzo was stretched to the limit because her small force was investigating two unrelated homicides.
She needed all the help she could get.
So retired Michigan State Police Sergeant Michael Niger volunteered his help.
So what is all of this here? What is this?
This is all of the work, that I did for Chief Frizzo on this case.
And what Niger found would shift the investigation from a missing person into a murder case. Niger conducted a fresh search of Chris's car that was abandoned in the park and ride lot.
Did you find anything?
Yes, we found a lot of fibers, a lot of hair, and we found a stocking cap, and there was a discussion about some leaves being seen trapped in the trunk lid. In other words, the trunk lid was closed on leaves, and I'd heard that, and I said, boy, that's important for what I do, because we can find out what kind of leaves those are, what kind of trees, and then we might know potentially where the body was disposed of, because, it's unusual to have leaves trapped, in the trunk.
Unusual because there are no trees outside Chris's apartment, but there are plenty of leafy trees outside Kelly's house. In fact, Niger says he and Chief Frizzo found that the GPS device in Chris's car proves he was at her house the day he went missing.
The car had been there, yes.
And Niger says he found something even more incriminating in Kelly's digital footprint.
Sometimes people, when they're going to commit a crime, they will go and search stuff on Google, like how to dispose of a body. Evidence I found on the computers were Google images, satellite imagery of the Caspian Pit.
The Caspian Pit, an abandoned mine pit outside of town, filled with deep and murky water. Divers didn't find Chris, but they found something else, a burn barrel.
So when they locate this burn barrel in the pit, they note that there's what appears to be like a laundry cable wrapped around it or tied to it, as well as a cement block. The Cochrans had a burn pit in their backyard, and that burn barrel was missing.
Do you know for sure that that was their burn barrel?
No.
And did any DNA evidence ever?
No.
Still not enough, so Chief Frizzo throws a Hail Mary.
I'd try anything.
In an unconventional move, Chief Frizzo calls upon the spirit world to help. The chief hired a psychic medium who, in a Crime Watch Daily exclusive, takes us inside Kelly's house, where she says she received visions of violence.
So this is where I got most of my feeling before the door was open. And as I walked up here, immediately I saw all of this, and I really didn't need to go any farther because I knew this is exactly what I had seen in my vision.
Well, what did you see in your vision?
The 3 steps, the tile on the floor was exactly the same, and this is where I saw that Chris had been attacked.
And did you know how he had been attacked or where he had been attacked?
What I got was on that day that I came here, that he had walked up the steps, got up to the doorway, saw something was amiss. He turned around to leave, and as he was leaving, he got hit with something in the back of the head. I thought it might be a baseball bat. I didn't know if it was a gun or what. Laura asked me to walk up the stairs because she wanted me to come into this area, and I didn't need to because I said he never even made it there.
Did you see this as an image? Did it come across as a voice? Like, how did you see this?
It comes as like a knowing and as an image. So it's a combination. It's almost like I'm stepped back in the reality to that reality. I'm like a fly on the wall.
But a psychic premonition isn't proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Now the case grows ice cold. With Kelly and Jason in Indiana, would cops ever find the answers they want?
What did Kelly and her husband say to all of you when they all of a sudden showed up in Indiana?
They said they had enough of being harassed by law enforcement over the death of Chris, them investigating them for it.
But Kelly was still up to her old ways. Chief Frizzo says she was cheating on Jason, but this time with a woman.
She had actually asked this woman that to be in a serious relationship with her and more meaningful relationship, and the girl said she would.
Kelly was still married, but not for long.
Lake County 911. He's breathing barely. I don't know what's wrong. He's throwing up. He's sweating.
She's about to become a widow.
The paramedics arrive, and what condition is Jason in?
He's not breathing. He's dead.
And what's Kelly doing?
Getting in their way, acting distraught, and overacting.
Kelly claims her deeply depressed husband overdosed on heroin, but is this habitual liar just talking smack? Next, cops take a page out of a detective novel to trick Kelly into talking.
And I thought, oh man, she's never gonna fall for that.
Will the ploy work? Find out right after the break.
Why do you think Kelly killed her husband?
I think that she killed her husband because he was probably a liability for her. She was concerned that he was going to end up talking about things and she was going to get in trouble,